Hello and thanks for watching. My name's Rob Flint and I'm here today with Mick McDermott, author of the book Speaking with Forked Tongues, and we're here to discuss the shocking state of the off-course bookmaking industry and the difficulty we have now in getting a bet on in betting shops and on the telephone. Mick here has got plenty to say about the subject, and I'm sure you'll find it interesting viewing, and we'd like you to contribute with your experiences as well of what's happened to you over the years and the difficulty you get in trying to place a bet. Good afternoon, Mike.
Hi, Rob. Just let me emphasise the point that we're trying to get over here. Both of us have been betting for donkey's years since we were kids, and never in the history of all this time has the bookmaking industry been reduced to such a rabble, almost vermin and complete scum, really. And that is how it treats its customers, like vermin and scum. We're also, a pair of us, sick to death of hearing bullshitters on TV telling us different, telling us that bookmakers take bets, that they've seen money for this or that every day when they're interviewed by a load of toadies and sycophants from the racing channels on TV. Not necessarily all of them toadies and sycophants, a lot of them well informed, but some of them, it makes me wonder whether they're in the bookmakers' pockets. They have private accommodations to get their own bets on, and we're both so utterly appalled by the general state of things, and the fact that nobody is prepared to say anything about it or do anything about it makes it more appalling than ever. So we're here to look at the general state of things, to look at individual bookmakers, and then at the end to suggest what you may be able to do to help us. And I'm going to give you my email address now, and I'm going to give it to you again right at the end, so that feel free to send us anything you want which shows us the current bookmakers, whether it's Ladbrokes, Bet365, Stan James, all a lot of them, which shows them in an unfavourable light, closing your accounts, treating you like riffraff and pretending otherwise. We want to do something about it. We want to forward this information to someone who may be interested, and we're utterly sick to death of the situation. So that's a general starting point. Now, Rob, you've not got any accounts in your name, have you, anymore?
The only account I've got left is a very, very paltry account with Betfred. I've probably had 20 accounts over the years are closed, from all of them, from the top to the bottom, from Ladbrokes to the top to the ones that some people might not have, like Sky Bet, Boyle Sports, and all the others. I've got none left whatsoever, no,
neither have I, and I don't know anybody who can bet in their own name. And since the book was published about 5 months ago, I've become aware of at least another 40 people who've had accounts closed with the worst of these firms. We'll come to them in a minute or two. You know which ones they are.
Yeah.
Well, I've forgotten. Let me give you my email address for starters here and now, and then again at the end. Email me at mickmcdermott79@outlook.com. Anything you want to say, and even if there's anybody living in fairyland out there who wants to pretend that bookmakers still take bets, we'll hear from them as well, and we'll treat it with the contempt and cynicism that it deserves.
Well, as you know, Mick, anybody who's getting a decent bet on anymore are long-term losers, basically. Anybody who knows what they're doing or can show a small profit even, or even just beating the odds, basically they get restricted accounts straight away, don't they, as you well know, within 5 bets or less in some instances. I know that you've got experience of one particular firm who closed your account before your first bet had actually ran.
Well, it was someone who I know who closed that account. Well, first of all, let's go back a few years, Rob. Let's go back, let's say, turn the clock back 10 years. And at that time, the bookmakers played a reasonably fair game, don't you think?
I reckon so. Yeah, you could get a decent bet on. If you're a form student like myself and yourself, you could back your opinion, and they would accommodate you to a certain degree. Yeah, definitely. What's gone off in the last 10 years is just gone a complete spiral. But certainly, yes, 10 years ago you could get a decent bet on. Yes.
And I think we all know the main reason why things have changed, don't we? With the machines in the shops, the fixed odds betting terminals. Now bookmakers can do nothing. They can sit on their arses and watch people do the brains in on these damn things, and they don't want to take bets on horse racing anymore. They know that that's the only area where the punter can win.
Correct.
They can't win on the other areas. Look at all the advertising on TV. Anybody name me an advert where bookmakers are encouraging people to open an account so that they can bet on horses at 10 o'clock in the morning? No chance.
No chance. It's all football or bingo or whatever it may be. You're right, quite right there, Mike. Yeah. But I mean, as you say, 10 years ago, everything was fine, and then we've just started the slippery slope into the abyss that we're in now that we just can't get a bet on.
Yeah. This is why it's so critical that people are prepared to do something to help, because now bookmakers are little more than licensed thieves. They sit on their arses all day long. The staff sit on their arses in the shops. And they watch people on these damn contraptions knowing that they're doing their brains in. Now, I suppose I don't have sympathy with people who are stupid, but I do have sympathy with people who've got problems. And I can't see why racing should depend upon the profits of an industry which has become little more than licensed thieves. It's about time racing began to look at itself and started to think of other ways rather than relying upon a corrupt bookmaking industry. Let's face it, that's what it is. If you're not allowed to win, it's corrupt.
Well, that is true, Mike. And as you say, why should they be dependent on machines to fund racing? You know, if they took if they started taking bets in betting shops, then the profit from that would fund racing anyway.
Yeah. Well, the betting shops are empty, Rob. We've been in them occasionally now and then. There's nobody in apart from a couple of pensioners with round robins and idiots on the machines, and that's about it.
Well, that's true. If yourself or me went to the counter at any of the Betfred any shop really, they'd run for cover straight away. You put £100 each round at horse and straight away on the telephone, and you know what they're going to come back with, a minimal amount.
Yeah.
And that's it. Yeah. So.
Yeah, the whole thing has become a joke, and let me emphasise again, that's why we're having this discussion with you. And let me tell you now, the next 45 minutes is a bullshit-free zone. Neither me or Rob will be talking bollocks of any description, unlike the complete bollocks that you listen to every day on the TV from the likes of Giovanni and Claire, Tempest, Shinners and all the rest of them, talking complete, utter bollocks about their firms taking bets. We'll come to these individual firms shortly, and you'll see what a grubby bloody shower most of them are.
Well, they are complete bullshit merchants, Mike. That is for sure. You know, I've never heard such a load of rubbish in all my life as they've seen money for this and they've seen money for that. I mean, they've seen money for nothing because nobody can get a bleeding bet.
Oh, exactly. Who's got the accounts, Rob?
No,
if they see money, who's the money coming from? Some fucking old lady sitting on a sofa in the Cotswolds somewhere watching what they call it at lunchtime and deciding to chuck a score on something at Plumpton. Yeah, well, there's nobody with accounts.
Not at all. I mean, I travel up and down and speak to a lot of people, and I couldn't name you anyone who's got accounts with some of them. Stan James Boyles, Sky Bet. I know we're not going to go on at this moment, but I can't name anybody who's got an account with anyone.
No, I can't. You know? I can't name anybody with an account with at least 5 of these bookmakers. No. Not one account.
No.
And this is the scum who tries to tell me every day that they have seen money.
Yeah.
Well, let's come to that in a little while. Let's take a look at individual bookmakers, Robert. Can we start with one of my favourites, Boyle Sports?
Yeah.
What's your opinion of this shower?
Sorry, you made me laugh when you mentioned Boyle Sports. Yeah. Well, what sort of opinion can you form of Boyle Sports? They're a complete bleeding joke, complete waste of time. You have 2 bets with them. You're a card smart, account closed. I opened an account in my son's name. He had 1 bet on the darts, of all things, on the darts. Went for a second bet, account closed. And I know that you've got some great experiences with them yourself.
Oh, wonderful with Boyle Sports, because in the book I mention about 30 odd people who've had accounts closed. Most of them closed after an average of about 3 bets.
Yeah.
So the laughable point of all this is that the Racing Post prints adverts from this shower on a weekly basis as a firm who are supposedly taking bets. Tom Seagal, in his columns on a Saturday, in his Price-Wise column, will mention there are prices available. With Boyle Sports, Christ almighty, you're just as likely to get that bet with your local greengrocer. In fact, phone the bloody local greengrocer up, because
he might accommodate you.
You're wasting your fucking time phoning this shower, that is for certain.
Oh dear.
So, that's enough time wasted.
Well, the only thing I was going to say about that shower shit was, it amazes me how they can sponsor classic races and that, because I mean, for what they take in off the.
Well, I reckon you've got a lot of pensioners in Ireland having a couple of quids on with this lot. It must be. Another favourite of mine, Rob, will not devote long to this lot. Sporting Bet.
Oh dear. Well, fortunately for me, Mike, I've never had an account with them, so I've probably saved myself a little bit of grief.
Well, Sporting Bet, I don't know anybody whose account lasted 3 bets with this mob.
No.
It's set of charlatans. And the latest brilliant thing to make people laugh, I picked this up on Twitter. The guy had bet a winner with Sporting Bet, but they weren't going to pay him because he got the same postcode as another punter. It was being referred to IBAS.
Oh.
So I sent this guy a tweet which said that even if Sporting Bet pay him, they'll probably send a burglar around to his house to get the money back after they've paid. Or that's if this bookmaker-sponsored organisation, IBAS, decides in his favour. Probably they'll decide in favour of Sporting Bet, which wouldn't surprise me at all.
No, that wouldn't be the biggest shock at all. No, definitely.
Oh, so that's got this riff-raff out of the way, Sporting
I'm pleased you didn't
Bet.
have to waste much time on that shower shit.
Who would you like to turn to next, Rob?
Well, I know you've got a real favourite in Sky Bet. I know they're one of your favourites. Like, you know, I know Mr. Shinners is one of your real topics of conversation from time to time. And Dale Tempest, of course.
Shinners and Tempest, right? They should have a TV spot, a comedy double act, because apart from Morecambe and Wise, I reckon they'd be just as good. In fact, I've not seen Tempest for a while until Saturday. They're trolling him about at the Grand National for some reason, just to be jolly and talk bollocks to everybody, I imagine, and pretend that Sky Bet had taken some bets. Sky Bet might have been paying the first 6 on the National, were they?
Possibly, and I'm not quite sure about that. I never look at their adverts anymore, Mike, for obvious reasons.
I think they were paying the first 6. I was paying the first 14 places. Which in effect means the same as Sky Bet, because if you've not got a fucking account with them, then you're not going to get a bet anyway. So next year, come to me, first 14 on the Grand National, and
money back if yours finishes 15th.
money back if it finishes 15th, and everything that falls, money back. Yeah, we'll do some special offers just like Sky Bet, but just remember, you won't get on with them. One other tale about this lot, and this brings us into question, something we can mention later. On a Morning Line programme about 2 months ago, possibly a little longer than that, Jim McGrath, Timeform fame, said that he bet a horse that very morning with Sky Bet because they were paying the first 4, and I thought, hang on a minute, Jim McGrath, the very knowledgeable punter Jim McGrath, can get a bet with Sky Bet. What the fuck's going on here, I wonder? Is it that Jim McGrath's marking the card? Has Jim McGrath got a little private accommodation with Sky Bet? Everybody else can fuck off, apart from the select few. Now, there's no other reason, because I don't know anybody in the country who can get 25 each way at a price with Sky Bet. So what you ain't to that, Rob?
Well, you have amazed me now, Mike, because I didn't know that little story, to be quite truthful. And there you are. It just shows you he probably is marking the card, you see. And I know what Jim McGrath will be thinking. Bollocks to the rest, as long as I can get my 50 quid each way.
Yeah, we'll come to these charlatans who present racing on the telly in a little while. Another of my favourites is Coral.
Oh, right.
One of my favourites. I've not told you I've got a mole, a Coral manager mole.
No, I didn't know that. No, honestly, I didn't know that. No,
stuff. So from this respectable company, headed by somebody now who fucked up the banks. So pass me my glasses, Rob. Will you just let me let me read this little piece that. This is a bit like having Ronald Biggs as Pope. You know that the church is not going to be very straight to you. So now we've got Andy Hornby, Chief Executive Officer of Coral. And the UK Parliamentary Commission on Banking Standards, it recommended that Hornby be banned forever from holding any senior role in a financial firm. And Coral's apparently are classed as in the financial services sector. So Corals seemed to be happily employing as a chief executive officer someone who fucked up the banks. And this is not me telling you he fucked up the banks. He admitted in front of a House of Commons select committee that he'd done that and apologised for the very fact. Now here he is fucking up the banks, and what is he like? He walks into this stuff. Yeah. What would happen to us, Rob, if we fucked up in a job in Derbyshire?
Yeah, well, we know what's happened, don't we, Mikey? To be down to the door.
Signing on,
be signing on, for a few.
Yeah, so quid. But no doubt this guy got his pension sorted out in the first couple of weeks.
He'd get that now.
And the next job, I was told by the Coral manager, new contracts for all staff. Which meant that they all had to clean out the shit out.
Yeah, I can verify that, because I've got a pal who works in a coral shop, and he said that they've sacked all the cleaners and basically got to do all the swilling out and mucking out themselves as part of the contract. That is true.
So Hornby's increased pension, they probably couldn't afford his increased pension and paying cleaners in the shit house.
I wonder if he's ever cleaning his shit house.
Well, probably he ought to get down to grips with the,
Was it Corals where they found that guy dead, by the way, that time?
Yeah, dead in the shop, but he died of a heart attack because they did him a bet. You can refer to the book about that one. Right. Yeah, he wanted 100 quid on something and they accepted it. Yeah. So he just keeled over it.
Yeah, I think I'd do the same.
And that was it. So that's where we start with this organisation. My Coral mole told me last Friday that they'd received in the Coral shop an email from higher management. Saturday, Grand National Day, would be a busy day, and to expect lots of customers, many of whom might be new, but to make sure that they were introduced to the machines and any new games that they had, so that they could get some more VIPs, as they're called in Coral's terminology.
Yeah.
You know what VIPs are?
VIPs, yeah. Well, we know the VIPs are in Coral's eyes, don't we?
Yeah, the VIPs are those people who do all the dough on the machines.
Yes.
And the guy, the Coral manager, also told me that if any of these VIPs went missing for a few days, you've got to find out where the bloody hell they'd gone to, because that would be having a dramatic effect on Coral's profits, and they couldn't be doing with that. What else do we know about? Here's a good one, Rob, you'll like this one. As you know, I don't go to shops very often these days. One, because I can't get a bet anyway. Two, because I've got to tell you when I'm away elsewhere that I've got racing covered. But when I called in a Coral shop a little over 12 months ago, one lunchtime, obviously Corals have got their own TV link, and they have this bullshitter on and that bullshitter on promoting this or that. Well, they had a special bet this lunchtime. This was only available to shop customers. About 6 of them who were in there, apart from me. And I won't fall for any of this shit anyway. This special bet, which was delivered by a bloke so full of his own importance that he was almost bursting out the fucking screen, was they were treating people, Coral were treating people to the best price on the planet. Not just in England, the fucking planet. They were treating people to 15 to 8, the favourite in the 9 o'clock at Windsor, and Hills and Ladbrokes were only going 13 to 8. They could have got away with 7 to 4.
Yeah, really? I mean, I'm amazed at that offer, really.
15 to 8,
yeah. I mean, what an offer! What an offer!
Well, and then I phoned Betfred and found that the horse was 5 to 2 on Betfred. So,
there you are.
So that said it all. Now I might have picked up just the one scam there on trying to rip off the lunchtime customers, but I'll let you make your own minds up on whether I just picked up on an odd one, or whether this particular scam was a daily practice to find some favourite week on the exchanges that Hills and Ladbrokes were shorter on, and try and kid them that Corals were being very generous. In the book I've recounted this little tale, and I've said that treating your best customers, your loyal customers like this, it's like inviting your neighbours round for dinner because they've kept an eye on your mother who's poorly while you've been away for a fortnight in Tenerife. And then before you put the dinner out, pissing on the Yorkshire puddings. Isn't it? They're treating them like that.
Yeah, very good analogy.
So this is Corals looking after the customers. There. Oh, dear, oh dear. We also said in the book that we had several people try and get bets of £100 each way, different parts of the country. Admittedly, they weren't 3 or 1 shots. They varied between 8 and 14, these horses. The woman, or the bloke in question, jumped up to the phone like a trained zombie has to do, came back with the message that the maximum was 25 each way. Now, I said to you a few days ago, I can understand that if they want to phone up head office, that's fine. There might be 100 people on a plot trying to bet the same horse at 10 to 1 and knock them back. But when people are trying to bet a horse that they've come up with themselves and they cannot get a reasonable bet on, it's pathetic. And corrals operate, once again it's my coral manager Mole here, a 3-tier system based upon colours.
Right.
And this is I don't know if this is all coral shops, but it's certainly
I'm not heard of this one.
Right. The 3 colours. Green means that the customer is a complete bonehead who knows fuck all.
So he can
be accommodated with anything. You can have his house off him, you can have his grandma's pension, you can have all the bloody lot. Amber are the people we have to be a little bit careful. You're not quite sure whether they're boneheads or whether they just look like boneheads.
Right.
So you've got to be a bit careful.
So do they still accommodate them?
They might get a bet or two, and then if you get they have a 50 quid at 10 and it starts 9 to 2, then they're going to go into the next colour band. They're going into the red band then.
What the red get?
Red band is maximum £25 each way, but I've been told what they really want is them to fuck off.
Oh, right.
And I suspect a lot of them do. The staff have not been instructed to go out and look for them.
No.
You start to be instructed to look for the machine players, the VIPs, to go out and haul them in with nets.
I didn't know I was in the red band.
Yes, we're both in the red band, Rob. So welcome to the world of coral. Yeah, a wonderful world. No sleaze there, Rob.
No, well, you've even enlightened me on a few things, Mike, and I thought I was pretty clued up, but you've certainly told me a few things.
What a wonderful world.
Yeah, I know the corals guy in our local area shop. He's a happy fella, isn't he? Hey?
Jesus, please. Let's come on to him later. Who do you want to turn to next in this happy crew?
Well, I mean, I know you've got plenty to say about quite a few of them, like. But why don't you go for one of the big boys and go for Ladbrokes?
Ladbrokes, right? Now these are, in some ways, these are quite shrewd compared to the others. They don't send out emails closing accounts here, there, and everywhere. I suspect it looks bad on them, and I'm sure a lot of them think a day's coming when all this sort of activity will be exposed. So they can hold their hands up and say, oh, we don't close anybody. Oh, what? Us? Oh, well, no, we try and treat people fairly. Well, let me tell them about fairly. Lots of examples I've got, a lot of them since I wrote the book and since the book was published. People whose accounts are effectively shut down with Ladbrokes. We all know what we mean by effectively, don't we? Often 5s each way, 10s each way, or whatever it might be.
I think the last bet I was offered was £1, Mike.
£1, really?
A pound, it was, £1. And that was I was only wanting a £20 double on 2 little fancies one Saturday afternoon at Cheltenham, and they said I could have £1. So. And
that you've been affected by this scam of Ladbrokes, where, let's say you've got a pretty useless phone account, and you want to try and have 40 quid on a horse, let's say at 10 to 1. Then the woman, or occasionally the bloke who picks up the phone at the other end, will tell you to wait, refer it, and come back and offer you a tenner at the price. You're saying, okay, I'll have the tenner, I'm not very happy. And then she will say, but you can't just have that. As the minimum phone call is £25, you've got to have £15 on something else.
Yes, I have fell into that trap. Well, they've tried to get me into that trap, put it like that, yes, definitely. On more than one occasion, when I could get a bet on, yes.
How would you describe that?
Well, it's disgusting, isn't it? Absolutely disgraceful.
Well,
they want you to put 15 quid on something you don't got a bleeding clue whether it's got any chance or not, just to get your bet on.
Just to get a bet on.
Yeah.
Now, if that's not a scam, then I don't know what is. I really don't. You go back to the Grand National on Saturday, it's not the end of the world. Ladbrokes only paying first 4.
No, that's what they normally do, isn't it?
In the race. I think I said in the book that they wouldn't have paid the first 5 on the charge of the Light Brigade this shower. Although they did do last back end on the Cambridge Cesaro, which why I don't know, maybe a mistake. You reckon?
Yeah, surprising. Yeah, definitely. There must have been some underlying trend for it. Like, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I know I've got 1 or 2 contacts who tell me that Ladbrokes have become far worse in the past 6 months. 3 bets and you can be effectively gone. I want everybody to remember that we're talking here about essentially betting horses between 9 o'clock in the morning and lunchtime.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
At their prices.
Yeah, they advertise.
Yeah, they advertise. We're not cheap.
No.
They advertise the price.
They put the price up, say, come and bet this horse, and you're penalised when you do.
And they don't want the bets.
And obviously, going back to Saturday about the Grand National, and I didn't really realise that till this morning, that Ladbrokes were paying face 4 in the shop, but they were paying face 5 online and on mobile.
Yeah, that's it's an outrage, isn't it?
Well, what's the differential there?
Well, the people in the shop, they know by and large are pretty thick, and they've not got the knowledge to know what's what elsewhere. You know that everybody within the vicinity of a Ladbrokes would probably pile in, including pensioners and old ladies.
Yeah. You'll get your Mrs. Smith from down the road.
Yeah, and
Auntie Florrie and all that.
50p on this and that, so they could get away with paying.
They could probably get away with paying first 3 or something. Yeah, definitely.
They might do that. Well, should we recommend that?
Well, if any Ladbrokes representative watches this, he might take it back to head office and see what they think.
Yeah, and then they came up with the special betting 16 to 1 the field, but I figured that meant that they were just offering 16 to 1 the top 2 in the market, which were both negatives on the exchanges anyway.
Yeah.
So if anybody could tell me what's too special about that, then send me an email and let me know. Or anybody who Ladbrokes have done anything special for, whether it's you, your cousin, your Auntie Flossie. If Ladbrokes have been really kind to you down the years, let us know. Do you think we'll be flooded out?
I don't think you'll be inundated by that, no, definitely not.
We'll not be flooded out like Boyle Sports said they were flooded with money.
Flooded with money.
Where's that dummy Leon Blanche? I've not seen him. I think he must have been sent for psychiatric care somewhere.
Yeah, I think he probably
along with somebody who
seems to have slipped off the screen, doesn't it?
I miss him.
Yeah,
I miss him. All this jollity and pretense of taking bets. It pulled at my heartstrings.
In fact, they're all legends in their own world, aren't they?
Oh, terrific, yeah.
Definitely.
You could have a Christmas show with them, couldn't you? All of them.
Absolutely. Who'll be the compare, do you think?
Oh, I think Fred Dunn. Yeah, I think a good old Lancashire jolly.
Yeah, well, he's a graduate of Salford.
Salford what?
University.
Oh, Salford Docks. Salford University.
Yeah, he's got a doctorate at the university. You know?
Really?
Yeah. The business acumen.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, should we deal with old Fred?
Well, why not, mate? Why not?
Oh. It's nice to know that Fred feels such sympathy with all these issues about fixed odds betting terminals and betting shop clusters in towns, and he seems to be suggesting some positive ways around it. It's odd because when we were in one of his shops last year, he was running a competition to get people on these fucking machines. Can you remember
that fanfare that came with it?
Fanfare, yeah.
If you're on a machine at 11 o'clock and your number comes up...
Yeah, you were in Fred's draw. I think, what, 2 Smarties and 25 quid for
free play on your roulette machine.
No competition style. Give us a bet at Perth or Ada. No, just on the machines.
In fact, all we kept doing was getting snored at by the guy behind the counter.
He's another one. Well, a lot of betting shop staff. Where they get them from, I don't know. No. I'm not slagging them all off.
There are some good ones. Yeah, there are some.
Anyway, this lot, your account won't last long with Betfred either. Me and you can't get a bet in this area, can we?
No, local shop to me, it's SP only.
SP only to me, SP only to your pal in Alfreton.
SP only to my pal in Alfreton.
SP only to 3 or 4 that I know. Why we're persecuted like lepers while other people can get a price on, but we all know why, don't we? It's fuck off, we don't want your business. Bet a couple of short ones and piss off.
Yeah, that's quite true.
We'll deal with all the dummies who come in. We'll deal with all the riffraff and the boneheads and the unfortunates, those who know nothing, terminally ignorant.
That's true. The last time I called in a Betfred shop, just sheltering from a shower, it was a Wednesday morning, and there was absolutely queuing 25 deep at the counter putting Irish lottery bets on.
Really?
And I think that just shows what what they're aiming at, apart from the fixed odds betting terminals, Irish lottery, things like that. To be fair, it does give the best odds on Irish lottery, but there were nobody having a bet on the horses.
No, they were. Well, you told me that tale of yourself and your son in Betfred shops where passports and driving licence was demanded in order to have a bet of 50 quid or more. Yeah. And the woman behind the counter produced a bloody dossier.
That's right.
Can you believe it? This is like Nazi Germany. Yeah. Betfred staff in at least 2 shops in Derbyshire were demanding evidence, documentation, passports and driving licences. Him? Does he look under 18? His wife?
I don't know
and his son?
80.
Christ almighty. Documents?
Son 25-year-old, not shaven for about 5 days.
No, I don't. And of course there was that business with the guy who helped drag some money in the Barney Curly coup, the first one.
Yeah.
They put his picture up in a shop in Lincolnshire somewhere with some armed robbers. Yeah. Can you believe it?
Absolutely disgraceful.
These are the coppers had to take it down. The coppers were invited to take it down. Yeah. But these people think they're above it. Well, I don't know whether it's within the law, but if it is within the law, then the law wants fucking changing pretty sharpish.
Yeah, absolutely.
If scumbag bookmakers can be demanding my passport to get 50 quid on a horse at Catterick, Jesus help us all.
When my son went in and tried to place a bet, and they asked him for ID and passport or whatever it was, they did say to him that if this bet, it was an anti-post bet, a long-term bet, and they did say to him that if this bet was successful, he would have to go through the same procedure again to draw his money.
Yeah, well, it's like Nazi Germany. The Gestapo used to ask for documents. God knows, another 5 or 6 years and all this filth and vermin might drag it even further down into the cesspit that it's already wallowing in. We know it's the cesspit. The bullshitters on television won't tell you that because they've all got a stake in keeping the status quo. They know it's bent, and if they don't, they're pretty thick. But they want to keep it like that. They've got jobs. Let's keep it quiet. We don't give a shit if there are thousands of people with accounts closed and can't get a bet on horses. They don't give a monkey's fuck. But that's the state of the grubby nature of this industry now. Complete filth.
I know what I meant to bring up, Mike, and you're going through these one by one, but I know that there's one that's really close to your heart, and that's Stan James.
Stan James.
Yeah, I know that this will bring a smile to your face.
Well, it's their spokesman who I love most of all. Yeah. Well, I've got copies of over 70 emails sent by Stan James to customers, clients, call them what you will, in the past 6 months, closing their accounts. Most of these accounts have been closed after 4 or 5 bets. Once again, I describe in the book, it's almost like ethnic cleansing without violence. This separation of, we'll have this one, they don't know what they're doing. This one, piss off basket for them. Another one, he's bet 2 horses that have shortened. Piss off basket. Another sifting through. We could do it, can't we?
Sifting them out, yes.
Sifting them out.
Yeah. But I mean, the thing with Stan James, though, to be fair, we like to argue both ways. A few years ago, they weren't like that, were they?
They weren't.
They were one of the better ones.
Yeah.
You know, they'd lay you a bet. They were courteous. They were polite. The price advertised was usually, well, it was always there when you rung up for a bet, and they'd lay you to a reasonable stake. And then I don't know what went wrong. They just had this cull of clearing everybody out, like you just said.
Yeah.
Now, what
it's the same. I think we've not come to these yet, Bet365, but they used to be okay.
They were very good.
Up to 5 years ago, they were perfectly fair.
If you wanted under each way,
you get it. And there was none of this bollocks about referring to.
No, there were no going into background and playing some poxy music and then coming back and saying you've got 50 quid or whatever. You got your bet, definitely.
They do you a bet, but it's back to this business that me and you absolutely detest. We know that Stan James are closing all these accounts.
Yeah.
So why doesn't their chief bullshitter in charge know about it?
Yeah. He's got to do it. He's got to do it. Sure.
Well, if he does know about it, he's a downright liar to come on the television and tell us that Stan James has taken bets. Or he's just a stooge.
Yeah. Just a
They're not telling him, just a stooge. And they tell him in the head office, Tell them this bollocks. Tell them we've seen a lot of money for this at Plumpton, and tell them we've been inundated with something else at ADOC. Just tell them any old shit and just get it done with. So we have to put up with these stooges coming on the television in the afternoon telling us that they've seen money. I've got a choice now. Two things, Rob. I've got a bucket to be sick in when these people come on saying they've been inundated with money, or the Shrewdies have been on for one. Are you listening to this bollock? The Shrewdies have been... Where the fuck are they? They've all been closed down years ago, the Shrewdies. There is some Shrewdian old granny hiding away somewhere wanting 30 quid on something. It's appalling. And the other thing, I have to turn the sound off. Every time Giovanni and that Ponce from Ladbrokes,
Williams,
who sounds like David Cameron. I'm so sure they went to the same bullshit college.
Yeah, I think they did. I think they're probably the Old Etonians, the Bullingdon boys, or whatever they call them. Yeah.
But can you imagine if we'd have come across anybody like Williams at school speaking like that? Let's say when we were 9 or 10, we'd have wondered if they were the same species.
Yeah, they were.
I often think of David Williams saying to his mother at the age of 9, "Oh, Mammy, would it be possible for us to go to Ascot in the summer, meet Uncle Henry from the House of Lords and talk a little bollocks to him?" And then she would say, "Oh, of course we'll go, darling, and you'll be at Eton soon, and lots of bollocks talked at Eton, and then you can be a bullshitter for Ladbrokes." Make a nice living out of talking bollocks, like lots of people who go to Eton.
He does speak rather correctly, doesn't he?
Just like me, yeah.
Yes, very good, man. Yeah. Very good. Yeah. Have you ever thought about taking up
my David Williams impression? Giovanni, going back to Stan James, Giovanni always strikes me when he comes on TV as nervous.
Yeah, it looks a bit edgy, doesn't it?
Yeah, as though he thinks today's the day they're going to find out I'm talking bollocks.
Yeah.
Because if he came on at the start of a Miss Marple thing, you'd know he was the murderer, wouldn't you?
Within 5 minutes, you could get out at pub, couldn't you? Because you don't really.
No, it was him. Anyway, Rory, we feel sorry for you, really. If you view this conversation, I hope you do. I used to send you a few tweets from my Auntie Flossie. and you never replied, which was rather rude, because they were all quite sensible questions, asking you if the busiest guy at Stan James was the one who closed all the accounts. No replies at all. Saying that Auntie Flossie would have a whip round for you to help if you were going into psychiatric care for all these problems of seeing money. Because it's like a medieval disease, it's like leprosy and things like that in it, and plague, seeing money. It's like a disease, it sees money everywhere.
When it gets under your skin like that, you need treatment.
He'd probably go home to his wife and says, "What's for tea?" and then says, "I've seen money for this, money for that." And I wonder if his wife has to tell him to snap out of it and tell him to start telling the truth again. He don't need to bullshit.
Yeah, it's me you talk to now, darling.
Oh dear. And Shinners is another favourite of mine. Old fat man, as I call him. I tweeted Chris Dixon the other day, and I said when he spoke to him, he did at least say what's shortened up with you today and not what you've taken any bets for. So I was pleased about that. I think he does recognise the difference now, because just because something goes blue on odds check, I don't believe anybody's taking any bets for it.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely.
But where's that take us now? Rob?
I think you just mentioned your old friends Bet365.
Yeah, Bet365. Yeah. Well, let's be fair. Until 4 or 5 years ago, these were as good as anybody.
They were the top. They were the top dogs.
Yeah. So why they've been sucked into this mire with the rest of them, I don't know. But let me. A friend sent me this. It's not my mole in the coral shop. It's somebody else. This is somebody who opened an account recently with Bet365. She was sent, this person was sent 2 letters on successive days. One was dated the 26th of March, which starts, "Hi," and then this person's Christian name. "We've noticed that you haven't yet claimed your £10 free bonus with Bet365. If you experience any problems, don't hesitate to get in touch with you. We strive to offer you the very best betting service, and any feedback is really helpful to us in trying to achieve this." 27th of March.
This is the next day.
This is the next day.
Yeah.
Dear surname, following a review of your account, we regret to inform you that we are no longer able to offer you our telephone betting service. And then to the effect, should you wish to get involved with all the rest of the shit that we offer with the casino and all these clapped out games and other things, then you're allowed to carry on with that. But don't bet a horse in the morning with us, because we don't want it 2 or 3 have shortened, so go away somewhere else.
Bye bye.
That's it.
Yeah.
And once again, in the book, names of loads of people who've gone by the wayside in the past few months. And I reckon, how many people out there do you reckon are treated in this way?
What, that have still got accounts or that have had accounts?
Do you reckon it goes into thousands?
Got to do. Absolutely got to do. I mean, I could bring 20 people into this room now from our village, my village, that have had accounts closed with Bet365. You know, that's how bad it is. That, like we said earlier, being fair, used to accommodate a bet. And all of them now exactly same as with Stan James. Well, I mean, what they do, of course. Oh, sorry, you, Mr. Flint, you can have £2.50 each way. You go down that line to start off with, and then if you, I mean, nobody ever surely perseveres with £2.50 each way. But then eventually it's online only, and we know what you're going to get there. You know.
Exactly. Is it? No, we're all agreed. Well, we are both agreed, and we know that there are thousands of you out there who know this to be the case, because we've said this afternoon it's a bullshit-free zone. You're getting the truth.
Yeah.
For once, you will get, if you've managed to get in touch with YouTube and view this conversation, all you're getting is the truth, and forget all the bollocks that you listen to on TV. So, and we're agreed, aren't we, that you were only allowed to lose.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, any account that's profitable is closed.
Yeah. Now, I honestly think that if you've got a situation where you're only allowed to lose, it's not much different from licence theft. And if you go back in time, Dick Turpin, the highwayman, we hanged him. The great train robbers, we put them away for more than 20 years. And yet this lot are allowed to get away with this, with operating on fixed odds betting terminals, what essentially is licence theft, and closing down anybody who's got the slightest idea what they're doing. If I got a machine, let's say we put a couple of machines at the top of the front garden there, Rob, and watched all these fucking idiots putting money in that's coming past all day. We just sat here like the staff in Ladbrokes and Betfred, watching them. We got a key to go and empty it at 10 o'clock before we walked up to the alehouse.
Sounds good.
800 or 900 quid. For sitting there doing fuck all. Jesus help us all.
Money for old ropers, the same way.
Licence theft. You believers, that's what it's heading to. And if any MPs come across this, and some I know I've got the book, so I'm going to direct, or I'm going to ask Adrian Parkinson if he can direct some MPs to this. Now, they might not like some of the language. I don't give a shit, to be honest, what they like and what they don't like. But for once, they will be viewing the truth. So if you know the truth, do something. Somebody with some integrity. Have the bottle to challenge these rogues, these charlatans, this filth and scum that perpetrate this degree of unfairness on people who like a bet. And think about it logically, from all those interested in horse racing, they're killing a generation of people who want an interest of like the 40s and 50 quids on horses and can't get them.
That's
killing it.
Quite true.
And racing, you know the Racing Post as well as I do. All the bullshit in there about transparency, and they want to deal with trainers doping horses and people laying things on exchanges that they know are going to lose. See out in there about bookmakers, Rob? No chance.
No, well, we know why, Mike, don't we?
We all know why.
Because they're keeping the show on the road. They're funding the Racing Post and whatever.
How many journalists at the Racing Post do you think might be accommodated with little favours like private bets to under each way that they want and keep the trap shut?
More than not, for sure.
Well, 6 different people wrote to the Racing Post noting this scam about that Ladbrokes were carrying on minimum phone bets where you were forced into betting something that you didn't want to bet. They also wrote in about closed accounts, mass closed accounts. The Racing Post printed nothing, not one letter. So not only have me and you and the thousands of our, I'll not call them supporters, but people who see things our way, we're fighting bullshit on the television, we're fighting a racing post which is not interested, we're finding tow rags and recipients as MPs who receive bookmaker cash, such as Philip Davies, who talks bollocks in front of an audience on TV and says that problem gambling is no greater now than it was. Well, where's he been? Where the bloody hell has he been all these years? Well, all you've got to do is walk into a betting shop and see. And all you need to know, if bookmakers want the machines and more machines, then that is problem gambling. That's where the profits are. They want more of.
Well, that's certainly where the gambling is. Where the problem gambling is, Mike. Definitely, that's where the problem is in the machines.
You've got a relative who's been to a Gamblers Anonymous.
Yeah, absolutely.
And what did he tell you about the vast majority of people there are?
Well, he said to me that one thing that was really alarming to me, that the amount of people who committed suicide through the mess they got themselves in through gambling on these machines. It was absolutely scary, you know. And he goes to these seminars. He still goes now, and he's not had a bet himself for a couple of years now, and he still goes religiously every Wednesday. And he said to me that
was there not an old woman who you're acquainted with as well, who was going into trouble with these to some degree as well?
Absolutely, yeah. A friend from years gone by. She's basically lost her home just through feeding the machines, as they call it. Yeah, she's going to be evicted from the house that she's lived in for over 20 years.
Yeah, well, let me pass a simple message on to Philip Davies, MP, and all the other MPs who are sucking bookmaker cash and stuck up bookmakers' arses. You think about these people, you fucking arsehole. Think of the people who you were defending, whose interests you were defending practices and activities of bookmakers who don't want to deal with hundreds of people, and yet they're prepared to deal with others and take the money like this. I'll say it again, arsehole. You're a complete fucking arsehole, Davies, and all the rest of your pals who are taking bookmaker cash and trying to suggest that bookmakers are carrying on a respectable, honourable business, because they're not. Simple as that. And we're coming towards the end of this conversation, I imagine, Rob.
Yeah,
let's take these people on TV, those who present it. Now, in truth, we've no problems with their knowledge of the sport. It's not that at all, is it? I've got lots of time for...
The one thing you can say about a lot of them, they do the homework, don't they? Yeah. They know what they're talking about, absolutely.
Yeah. So let's be clear, if any of them decide to watch this, we're not quarrelling with your knowledge, your presentation skills or whatever.
Absolutely not.
We're talking, I think, with the tone, and there are one or two presenters on there who appear so up their arses of bookmakers, who greet bookmakers in conversations as though they're long lost pals, and it goes against the grain. Quite honestly, it's nauseating to listen to. By all means have bookmakers on there, but let them tell the truth. We're sick of bullshit. Present the programme. There are people on there who we think are complete 100% integrity, your Jonathan Neesons and others.
Absolutely.
We think are fantastic. But
well, he tells it how it is.
Yeah, he tells it how it is. Yeah, you couldn't imagine him on a bullshit. He tells exactly as it is. Yeah. Well, that's what we want to hear from all presenters.
Of course.
Let's ask some bookmakers some intelligent question. Ask them about closed accounts. Ask them why you close people's accounts. Ask them what they mean by a big bet. Ask them to define floods of money and all sorts of bollocks and nonsense like that. Because until you start asking them some intelligent questions, then this game is going to sink lower and lower and lower. And all you're going to hear is bookmakers squealing about the effects of the recent changes in law and taxation on fixed odds betting terminals, and they're going to say that racing can't be funded. Well, racing was funded before fixed odds betting terminals, and if bookmakers started an honourable game in taking bets on horse racing again, it could be funded again. Get shut of these bloody things. If people want casinos, let them have casinos. And let's make betting shops the places that we were when that they used to be, where people used to go in for an afternoon and could get bets of 30 and 40 quids on if they wanted.
Well, that was the thing, Mike. That's what they were called. They were called betting shops.
Betting
weren't they?
shops.
Yeah,
betting
that's what
shops,
betting shops.
rather than arcades.
Yeah, not licensed arcades, definitely.
Yeah,
that's true. That's true. So,
that's all we wish. But I can let me give you my email address. If you've managed to see through this conversation, I'm sure you've seen more boring conversations on TV. Anything with Giovanni in it and Simon Clare, the worst for starters. But if you stuck with us to the end, let me give you my email address, and I can promise you that I will try and get all your information to another party who has expressed some degree of interest in what we've had to say. Anything whatsoever that you think would help. And my email address again is mickmcdermott79@outlook.com. If you've got it and you want to send to Rob, send it to me, and I'll pass it on.
Yeah, sure.
As well.
No problem.
Also, if you're interested in these arguments that we've put forward, a lot of this stuff is in the book. If you want to buy the book or refer to it to see what's in there, you can get a few tasters by looking on website folktongs.co.uk, or the book's for sale on Amazon. It's only a tenner. It's my way of getting back at these people who treat us all with contempt. I spent 6 months researching the book. It's a small book. There's only 100 pages or thereabouts. It took me a little time to research, but I enjoyed doing it. It will amuse you, it will inform you, and hopefully it will provide some ammunition to take our cause further, because we think it's gone beyond the pale, that it really is an industry that needs complete change, isn't it, Rob?
Yeah, absolutely. And referring to the book as well, I mean, I have read the book, and not just because you're sat at the side of me now. It's got a serious side and it's got an amusing side as well, and I'm sure people will enjoy it and find it quite humorous, as well as the serious nature that we're talking about today as well.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
So just remember, because we're coming to a close now, last message from you would be what?
The last message from me would be, just don't believe the bullshit that you hear on the TV.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I was going to say exactly the same thing. Don't buy the bullshit. Believe us too. We've no agenda. No. We're not getting paid by bookmakers. No. We've no angles. No.
We don't expect our accounts to be reopened even. No. But we just want people to know the truth as to what's going on out there.
And if bookmakers want to prove that they are genuine and it is respectable, if they want to reopen the accounts of everybody whose names and addresses we supply them with, and doing bets at their prices to lose 400 or 500 quid, then I'm sure they'd all be happy. But I think you can forget that. So I hope you managed to stick with the conversation. I hope you found it informative. We've not bothered about being too politically correct, shall we say. But we don't care about that. We just want you to get the picture. I'm sure you're aware of it already. So thanks for watching, and send us your emails.